Hello, everyone. Welcome to The View. This is our weekly ranting and pestering people about everything and anything that is there to talk about. I am Robin. This is Arhaan, and welcome to our first episode. Today, we thought let's start off by something that's fairly common all around us, which is judgmental behavior, hypocrisy, whatever you might want to call it. And I think all of us have been victims and perpetrators of it at the same time in throughout their lives. But just let me, just to start off, Aran, I'm sure you must have faced this, but I'll still, just to begin the conversation, have you faced judgment anytime in your life till date?
I mean, yeah, the obvious answer is yes. See, I also feel like everyone faces a certain level of judgment,
Hmm,
but there are certain cases where you face judgment in a sense where it's not even necessary, and they just categorize you in like a particular
hmm,
um, category just based on your appearance, or like for example, right?
yeah.
So I've got tattoos, so I've been judged for like being too skinny. I've been judged for having tats. I've been
Hmm,
judged for being too tall.
hmm.
I've been put
Too
into
tall.
different
Okay.
yeah, yeah, a lot of people,
Weird.
you won't believe, in my family people
Yeah.
say that you're so tall. Keep saying that it's very hard for you to it's going to be very hard for you to get a girl to marry because you're so tall and Indian girls usually short. Imagine it goes up to that extent. So I've been judged as a fuck boy just based on my tattoos and my dressing. At one time I used to wear like leather clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So answering a question, yeah man, I have been judged quite heavily and in different
Okay.
have been categorized
Just,
very
just, just,
differently.
just circling back to one of the categorizations that you put in, just as a fuckboy. Who's judging you?
So in
Is it
that
is it
particular,
other fuckboys or I mean, is it being? I mean, are the other fuckboys judging you, or is it people who are from within the constraints of society? And if they are, how do they know this term? Is my question.
correct. So mostly it's been from girls that I used to
Ah.
chat up with on dating apps or in person or whatever.
Hmm.
So just based, so exactly right, before even having a conversation with me, just based on like the appearance of the profile pictures or whatever,
Hmm.
they used to have this perception in mind that this guy is a fuckboy. The
No.
thing is, I think people have these certain ideas in their mind,
Hmm.
and based on that, they like put you in that category and they judge you.
Sure.
So
I get that. I get that. I mean, appearance, I think, is like one of like right out of the bat. It's something that people will like the moment they lay eyes on you, they formulate, and that's natural. I'm not saying that you can change that. I don't know how to categorize it, but that behavior pattern, if I was to say, that's pretty natural. I mean, we do it unconsciously, of course. I mean,
correct.
it's not that we are some more enlightened or anything that we don't do it, but at least we're trying to change. And I think it's paramount that you try to get to know the person first, if that person is someone that you would have to interact with. If not, you pass so many people on the road, doesn't matter what your judgment is, because the moment you're gone by, nobody cares tu kya bola kya nahi, who gives a fuck uske baad.
True.
But
True.
if this is a person that you have to interact with in whatever capacity, be it in a friendly conversation, in a business environment, whatever it is, I think it's important that give him a fair chance.
Correct. And see, you must have faced it yourself, right?
Yeah,
Like, especially from people from school, like, you
yeah,
know how we were in school. And
yeah,
if they see you now,
yeah.
they're like, you have this rock star vibe with this really long hair and, your entire demeanor. But if people, like, just see you, you must have faced the judgment, like, Robin ko kya ho gaya?
Hmm,
He's completely different from what
yeah.
he used to be.
Just to
But a
give
person who
context,
knows you, yeah,
we are
right.
friends from school, so that's why we know everyone that we are talking about.
Correct. So in general, even people like who have changed from school
Yeah,
and who have now become like grown adults or
yeah,
whatever, they must be facing the similar thing. Like just because you change your appearance, people
yeah.
who actually know you might know you as this guy who is not like too extroverted,
Sure.
but who's also intellectual on many topics. But like when you just look at the person, like look at you, they might not even assume
Hmm,
that depth of sorts what you might have. So,
sure.
like,
So yeah,
so yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So before actually having a conversation with you and getting to know you, which they would actually understand like so many things that what you know about like the world or economics or anything, like
Anything, yeah,
they'll just judge you thinking, oh my god, this guy is like whatever, like whatever category they put you
yeah,
in,
yeah,
and then that bond will never ever be formed, which is
yeah.
sad.
You bring up this interesting point about people who from your previous, I mean, from your past, and then they're meeting you after a certain amount of time. I think that the judgment that you would get from there is different than what you would get from, say, a complete stranger.
Right.
Because
Correct.
from a complete stranger, it depends on what stage of your life you meet him. Like right now, like given the age that we are in, mostly it's got to do with your professional lives. Over
Hmm.
here, a guy with a long ponytail, or I mean, guy with long hair, a guy with tattoos, will be shunned in a professional environment.
Correct.
Immediately, they'll be like, he's a good for nothing. Why does he have long hair? Why does he have tats? Why does he, I don't know, what else? Piercings, I don't know. For some people, maybe.
Right. Correct.
You have to judge him by what he has to offer and not what he looks like. I mean, given today's workspace, I mean, I don't know if everyone has started going back to office yet. Most of it is work
Hmm.
from home. So
Hmm.
to you, and I mean, you see these memes and everything that you put up on the internet that सिर्फ ऊपर जैकेट पहन के बैठा है नीचे वो शॉर्ट्स पहन के बैठा है
Hmm.
just because the
Hmm.
webcam camera captures the top half, the bust of his view.
Correct.
So, and even in a workplace, why does a person with long hair equate to someone who will be an unprofessional guy, or who will be a rogue or whatever that they like?
Exactly.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. Your appearance is not equal to what
Yeah.
you can perform, whether it's like in.
At the same time, a person with I'll also put a flip side on this. That
Right.
a person with how I look at this point of time might be perceived as someone who is like very creative or very
Hmm.
talent oriented. Not necessary.
Yeah.
Not
True.
necessary. If
True.
someone asks me to sketch or play the guitar, I can play a few chords. Okay, I might look like someone who plays a lot,
Correct.
but I don't.
Exactly.
तो
Exactly.
तो वो भी एक जजमेंट होता है कि अरे he must be in like rock music, he must be a devil worshipper, he must be a drug addict, he must be a... नहीं.
Correct. And actually, now that you mentioned this, even I have been. I mean, like you even mentioned earlier, we are also guilty of judging people.
Sure.
And I'll just give this quick example of this mutual friend who I won't name,
Hmm.
but from our school, and even you know the guy. And this one time we were hanging out. So looking at him,
Hmm.
you would think like we would have judged him. I mean, we probably even did, and we would not assume that that guy would know so much about good cinema or good films or
Hmm.
good music.
Hmm.
But this particular guy has watched shows like The Wire, and he has watched shows like It's Always Sunny, and he's like listened to like post rock and stuff like that. So I'm also guilty of judgment. Like looking at him, I would think he listens to some Bhojpuri rap or something like that. Not that Bhojpuri rap is bad, but
Yeah.
I would assume this
Yeah.
kind of guy
That
listens to
was
that
that.
kind of just because his appearance is like
Right.
so fucked up. So, but I was like when I actually have proper conversations with him when he's sober, it's really good because he's exposed to even better cinema than I am at times.
Sure. I think that is where this, just to interject here, and give our audience this is where our entire concept comes from for this, the view that we are doing is we have been grossly mistaken about so many things that society has taught us since school.
Right.
And then when you look at how the real world is, and if you question, that is, if you're a sheep, then that there's nothing you
Right.
can do. Go buy an
Right.
iPhone 15, stand in the line or whatever, I don't know. But if you question and if you try to give the person on the other side a chance, I think you'll be surprised
Correct.
by what they would have to offer.
To
Of
offer,
course,
yeah.
this is not 100% of the case. I mean, it's not going to happen every time, but you would still be surprised. And
Correct.
knowledge is knowledge. Doesn't matter if it's pertinent to your field or not. You might still,
Exactly.
subconsciously listen to some things which might come, in
Correct.
hand, use become useful later in life. So this is
Absolutely. I
why
completely.
what our premise was of, when we did this was open your mind and don't be an asshole about
Exactly. Yeah.
about your
Yeah.
views, to be honest.
True.
I mean, like coming back to the point, like lifestyle. Like we were talking about lifestyle
Mm,
judgments. Like the way people
mm,
look, way people dress, or what they've. I mean, the tattoos, whatever they would have. Uh, I think this now. I mean, with the permeation of Western culture and that stupid wokeism, I think now there's a different kind of uh, judgment that's being passed around
mm.
now. That if you don't support any and everyone, then you are a bigot, you are a pig,
Correct.
or whatever. And I'm not saying support I'm saying, why can't you just be neutral?
Correct.
Why do you have to give these tags? Ki I am a supporter, I'm an ally, or I'm a whatever. Just be
Right.
neutral. It's a human. He has his life choices or her life choices. Or these are the two pronouns. Okay. I'm not going to go behind his or her. Okay.
True.
I, I mean, I don't need to know what his lifestyle is, or
Mm.
he doesn't owe me an explanation.
Correct.
So,
Correct. Yeah. People get judged on like the lifestyle choices like all the time.
yeah.
One is the point that you mentioned, like
No,
the
but
whole
so that's what with coming at it, with the woke culture coming in now, it's like if you don't actively support, even then you are an a perpetrator of injustice. But we are
correct.
not.
Exactly.
There's a certain section of society who doesn't care about anything.
Correct. You just don't want to be involved.
Yeah,
But
with
the fact
anything.
that you're
Yeah,
not, you are judged
yeah,
even heavily than
yeah.
actually like how it used to be back in the
Yeah.
day. Now it's the opposite actually.
They're like, you can't be a
So
fence sitter. Why?
yeah.
I don't care for your
Yeah.
fence.
Exactly. You can't
uh,
force someone to have
yeah,
an opinion that too in a particular direction in which
yeah,
you want him to have. That's
yeah.
that's absurd.
So, you see this trajectory that we are following. So earlier it was like judgmental behavior, and now it is also being forced upon people
Correct.
because if not, then you will be shunned by society. कि अरे
Correct.
he is a bigot, he is a
Yeah.
chauvinist. I don't know what all terms आजकल तो बहुत सारे आ गए. He
Yeah.
he's a I don't know racist. I don't think applicable है अपने यहाँ पर. But I'm sure someone will say that given a chance
Yeah.
कि वो racism
Yeah.
भी Indians के खिलाफ लगा देंगे वो लोग किसी दिन.
Correct.
But वो है
True.
and traditional judgmental behavior, if you look at it, I mean that still exists today in the form of bachelors not getting
Hmm.
entries to clubs,
Oh yeah.
bachelors not getting a place to rent,
Correct.
people being judged on their religion and whether a landlord will give them a place to
Will
stay
give,
or
yeah.
not.
Even
Uh,
food, like if
right.
you eat certain types of meats,
Yeah.
not even certain types of meats, even
Any.
meat in general,
Yeah.
even if you have like even chicken or so, which is
Even
considered
egg,
like
I would suppose,
yeah,
in some
yeah.
cases.
In some cases,
Yeah.
in certain, they don't allow you to rent the premise over there just
Yeah.
because on
Yeah,
on the basis of
certain
this.
communities that are north of Mumbai,
Yeah.
who hold sway in north of Mumbai, their local representatives are guilty of this. You know who you are, and listen, we are frank because these are our
Yeah.
opinions. I mean, you can choose to like them, you can choose to hate them. It's your
And
opinion.
not all of them. Like
Yeah,
some of them might be open-minded, some of
yeah,
them
sure.
aren't. So we're not
Yeah,
labeling any sect of people, but yeah, it,
you
it
know,
happens, and it happens a lot. It's happened with like a couple of friends of mine.
yeah, yeah.
Bachelors, like I said, bachelors, religion. We know which religion we're talking about, and even
No,
food.
I think bachelors are dealt the worst hand in India.
Yeah.
I mean, bachelors and not just bachelors and single men
Yeah.
especially.
Exactly. It's as if it's a crime.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are
Perfect.
you
I
supposed to
mean,
do? So they're actually making you stay in
uh,
your parents' house until you get married. So you can't have any gap in between of just being like a
uh,
single guy and having your own
uh,
place.
right.
It's ridiculous.
100%.
It makes no sense.
At least, I mean, if you were to look, I mean, on a lighter note, you would see a single guy is going to a club so that he can meet a potential match.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
cut him off at the door, तो वो जाके कोई तो क्वार्टर बार में बैठा है बाजू में.
Correct. And then he'll be judged on that. Like this guy is sitting in this
Yeah.
shady ass bar, and he is not in
Yeah.
that posh club
Yeah.
with
And then
a
this
couple of
guy, he gets frustrated कि "Bro, मेरे को जाने भी नहीं दे रहे. हाँ, I have to fucking live all my life on a quarter."
और मेरे exactly और मेरे को judge भी कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, man, he's ready to spend. If you look
Yeah,
at it, I mean, we've seen this in clubs. It's always the singles who spend the most.
Correct.
Couples will
Like,
hold on to one drink, पूरा रात भर सड़ाते रहेंगे वो लोग उसको.
yeah, yeah,
The single
very
guys will,
true.
and if you are so scared, they'll say कि safety is a problem. Then why do you have bouncers?
Yeah, and you again, it's judgment, right? You
Yeah.
not every guy is going to be a creep, and if there are a few creeps, then exactly what's the bouncer for? He's going to make
No,
sure that
this very conversation reminds me of a event. I think this happened to me in 2012 or 13. I used to stay in Pune back then,
mhm,
and there was this place in Viman Nagar. It's shut down now, but again, I won't take the name. But there was this place in Viman Nagar, and it had opened up in, I think, the month of December 2012 or something. And we had
mhm,
just gone there because it was close to where I was staying. Me and a couple of friends, we had gone there. So we got in, got to know the manager and everything. काफी अच्छा ये हो गया. Cut to a couple of months later, I go and then this place blows up. Okay, it's like become very
mhm,
popular in town and everybody's frequenting it. Back then, it was just opened. It had just opened up, so not a many lot of people were there. 2 months later, I go there with a few friends, and the bouncer stops us. He's like, "No singles. I mean, no group of guys or single people." I said, "Why not?" बोलते हैं, नहीं नहीं वो छेड़छाड़ नहीं होती है. मैं बोला तो तुम क्यों है यहाँ पे? तेरा काम है, तेरे को पगार इसी चीज की मिल रही है कि ना
exactly,
हो. ठीक है, तू तेरा काम भी
exactly,
नहीं कर रहा है और तू बार का भी नुकसान कर रहा है.
yeah,
तू क्यों है फिर वहां पर? तो
and
he like
the,
नहीं नहीं नहीं. मैं बोला ठीक है, तुम यू कॉल द मैनेजर. So he came in and he's like अच्छा नहीं नहीं, you come in. मैं बोला why this, and I questioned him again because it wasn't just that. It's okay, I know him, so he let me through, but I'm like क्या हुआ, why this differential treatment. He like there were a few guys some days back and they created some ruckus. मैं बोला but that comes within the purview of opening a bar. When you have a place where you
correct,
would have a, I would say above average crowd, not
mm,
your regular bar crowd or anything, above average crowd. It was a rooftop bar, so whenever you have a certain place with a certain standard, you will attract a certain crowd, and usme you will have a few rotten apples. But that comes within the purview of owning or entering this business.
correct,
But he's like नहीं अरे क्या करे, just basically काम नहीं करना था. No, he's like कि
correct,
नहीं नहीं लो, it's easier to reject ना कि नहीं लूंगा ही नहीं
yeah,
तुमको.
yeah, yeah.
So it's stupid. I mean, singles are perhaps the
It's
people
it's
who drive the industry forward.
the industry exactly, and I mean, this is exclusion. Like
Yeah.
you're actually filtering certain people, like an entire gender out just because
But at the same time, single women can enter.
and get free drinks.
Yeah, oh yeah. Enter for free and I think free drinks also.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So what are they out for? Like they just want to like lose money, I guess.
हाँ, तो फिर वही होता
Because
है. And this guy will go out, वो आ जाके सिगरेट पी रहा है. फिर कोई तो आंटी जा रही है वहां से पल्लू लगा के. तेरे को पता
yeah,
है पान शॉप के बाजू में अगरबत्ती नहीं लगने वाली है. Why are you walking from
yeah.
that side?
That again is a very topic. Like, see, they're selling it, right? So
Yeah.
if you're saying that it's so bad and
Hmm.
so this, either don't sell it, and if you're selling it, then don't like behave when see even these people when they watch like actors or like these
Hmm.
celebrities on into certain TV shows or movies when they are like smoking, then they say, "Oh, it's so cool and so badass."
Hmm.
But when a normal person, a regular guy, is just standing on the road and like having a smoke, he'll be judged.
Yeah.
Like so that again is stupid. Like let him do what he wants to do. You can walk from the other side of the road.
Yeah. 100. Or you can, or तू जब, even if you're walking from the same side, give them an example, and there is no smoker, ठीक है, it's not
Hmm.
that you are breathing in ozone, ठीक है,
Yeah,
it is still the
exactly.
same polluted air that you're breathing. O3 नहीं है, ठीक है, for people
Yeah,
who ozone is O3, oxygen is O2. तो ozone नहीं, it's not that you're breathing pure, which you can't also. If like people start judging, you can't breathe ozone. I know you can't, but what I'm saying is it's not pure air that you're breathing.
yeah,
तो तुम
yeah.
ऐसा दिखा रहे हो कि it was like you were in the Himalayas and suddenly
You
you
were,
are in,
yeah, and
yeah,
suddenly you've been like
एक ट्रैश कैन में
exactly.
फेंक दिया तुमको, ऐसा है तुम बिहेव कर रहे नहीं.
True.
But when you said that the celeb point you brought it, that celeb smoking and all, I think even there you see a kind of hypocritic behavior that has crept into cinema from
Hmm.
India today.
Hmm, hmm, hmm,
You look at 50s, 60s, 70s ke films, and
hmm.
the villain was always a classy guy in a suit with a glass of whiskey with a cigar or a cigarette in his hand. And I don't think that generation turned out any bad. बट
Yeah,
आज तुम एक माचिस जलाते हुए दिखा दो कि पहले सिगरेट स्मोकिंग इज इंजरियस टू हेल्थ, ये
yeah,
वो
exactly. Exactly.
when we know
It's really stupid.
there's no smoker in the world who will say कि smoking is
Who
the best
doesn't
thing.
know? Yeah. I mean, you don't need to make it that obvious. Everyone knows it's on the box. And
Every smoker knows.
if it's that bad, then why are you selling it and
Yeah,
making tax money from
of
it?
course.
So you're killing people basically,
Yeah,
and you're making money, and then you're even shunning them.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say.
And वो वही है देख, other thing इसमें एक there's another side to it. There's people जैसे अपने यहाँ होते हैं ना कि partially vegetarians जो होते हैं, जो 3 दिन नहीं खाएंगे, 4 दिन खाएंगे, या ये महीना नहीं खाएंगे, वो महीना नहीं खाएंगे, वैसे
Hmm.
ये लोग घर पे जाके दारू पियेंगे
Hmm.
या सिगरेट भी
Correct.
पियेंगे, ठीक है, बट बाहर, आई मीन इफ दे आर स्टेइंग अलोन, इफ दे आर स्टेइंग विद फैमिली तो बाहर जाके पियेंगे, ठीक है,
Yeah.
बट एट द सेम टाइम दे विल मेक श्योर दैट दे जज समवन who is drinking and smoking when they are
Who's
not,
yeah.
when they are not,
Exactly. When they are
when
not.
they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
not,
True.
immediately अरे अच्छी अच्छी
Correct.
ये सिगरेट पी रहा है, वो तू भी छुप के पीता हो झाड़ के पीछे, मालूम
तू
है
भी तो
मेरे को.
करता है. Exactly. Yeah. So hypocrisy is like a very major thing, and I think it stems from your own, I don't know, self-esteem issues, or maybe you're not so secure with yourself,
hmm,
and you feel like judging someone else will make you feel better, at least for that brief moment in time.
hmm,
It's kind of like, see, if as a person you're open to everything and everyone, that is a sign of a person with high self-esteem who doesn't need to judge people or put them down just to
sure,
make him feel better. So I think the root cause of that, it stems from someone who's insecure
hmm.
and who also faces issues with himself, which is why he's labeling people and judging them. And I mean, that's what I feel
Yeah, no,
it
I
comes
think
from.
it's an absolutely wonderful point that you've made, and I certainly concur that uh, when you, I think when you've opened up your mind to
Mm,
different possibilities, and basically a self-respecting person will respect any other person for who he is and not for what he has,
right.
not for the phone he has, not for the car he has, not for the brand of whiskey that he drinks, or
Correct.
not for the brand of cigarette that he
Correct.
smokes. He is open to knowing कि अरे ठीक है, this is a person who's made his life choices, and if he says something which adds value to my repository, I will take it,
Correct.
rather than being कि मैं जानता हूँ तू कुछ नहीं जानता,
Mm,
because तू
mm.
साले तू एंड्रॉइड फोन, तेरे पास क्या अक्ल है.
Yeah. Exactly.
And हुआ, I was just watching this stupid video some days back on YouTube or something. I don't know, popped up somewhere. They were asking, so this guy was going around asking women that this guy is a 10, but he owns an Android. What's his new rating? And those women immediately say he's 3 now because why is he poor? First of all, there are Android phones that
Exactly.
are way expensive than Apple. If you don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there are Android phones expensive than
Yeah.
Apple. And secondly, you, तो एप्पल आने के पहले फिर बाय दैट लॉजिक एवरीवन वाज पुअर बिफोर एप्पल.
Exactly.
That's because you.
And the only people who are really poor are the iPhone owners. Like, not most of them who are like buying it on EMIs. See, every other person today is buying an iPhone
Yeah,
on EMIs, and then they're judging people who are actually financially wise, who are buying Android and who don't have the need to show.
yeah.
So it's really silly. And see, we both are Android users, but we have friends who have iPhones. Like, I think most of friends, but
And we've
it's not.
used the iOS
Yeah,
I mean the OS, we've used it. It's not that we've
yeah,
not. Again, sorry, just to interject here, but it's like we
yeah,
are
yeah,
not
yeah.
against the OS. We are against the pretentious behavior that comes with it.
Correct,
That's
correct.
free, by the way. The charger might not be, but the pretentious behavior is free.
That is free. Yeah, exactly. And what I was saying is, it's not like we are judging them for having an iPhone,
Hmm.
but the iPhone users, like, they would be more judgmental towards Android users, and Android users would be less judgmental. Like, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole Android iOS debate, but
It's stupid. Yeah.
the thing about judgment is coming back from our topic of self-respect. Like,
Hmm.
a person thinks if he has like a better car or a better phone, then the other person, even though he could be a better person in terms of like his intelligence, knowledge, even money. There are a lot of
Yeah.
people who have way more money. Not every rich person needs to drive a Mercedes or a I don't know, Ferrari or whatever. There are wise people who have more money, and like Zuckerberg has a
100%.
Prius. I'm just
Yeah.
giving an example.
Yeah.
So
The flashing around a big car doesn't mean that you have
Yeah,
much more money than the other guy. It just means you're more stupid than him.
correct. Or you have the insecurity that you need to
Yeah.
show the fact that you have money.
Because a Lamborghini or a Maserati needs to sell their car. You don't
Yeah,
need to buy their car.
correct,
They are selling you a prestige item which you need to buy to show off. A
correct.
wise man doesn't need to show off.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
mean, and I think most of the, I mean, you look at Warren Buffett. I think he still
Mm,
drives his first car that he had bought. It's like a damn old car. I don't remember. It's a 1960s car, if I'm not wrong, but I could be wrong. Not fact
mm,
check,
mm,
but I know it's one of his first cars that he still drives around and everything. And yeah, man. I mean, I know people like if you even in India, if you go to like the interior parts of the country,
mm,
people think कि metros में ही सब वाहन लोग बैठा है. You go to the
mm.
tier 2, tier 3 cities, there are people who have much more money, are
Yeah, true.
wealthy. There's a difference between rich and wealthy.
Correct.
They are vastly wealthy, is what they are. And uh, what they would be driving a Baleno, of course, because it makes more sense in that terrain. But
Yeah.
and I'm sure they must be having their big cars also. I'm not saying they don't, because in a lower, I mean, in a smaller society, you would the incentive to showcase is much higher than in a urban
Mm,
environment, because you can't
true.
spark a car here, first of all. So, but hey, I mean, they have much more money than
Correct.
what people in the metros would. But ठीक है, it's just that वो English नहीं बोलता.
Yeah. And again, they are judged for that as well.
हाँ.
So it's on all levels. Like English is also a very big judgment about people. I had a call the other day with one of my clients.
Yeah.
So he was judging himself. Even that's the thing, right? He said, "I
So,
can't speak." Yeah, he said, "I can't speak English," and basically because he has been judged by society so much.
ah,
So he said, like I can't like get like orders, or I can't get sales. Like he wanted a website where he could close clients, and he said, I am not able to close them
hmm,
because I can't speak. And I told him, see, that's it. I mean, you don't need to speak. You like in your own mind, he's created this thing
hmm,
because society has judged him just based on language. Like
right.
you don't need to speak English to
To close a deal? Absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, I've closed deals in Marathi, like,
Huh?
and I've closed like, really large scale deals in Marathi. So
बिल्कुल.
unfortunately, people are judged on everything.
I mean, is he like a Gen Z or something? This guy.
He was a young guy, yeah, yeah.
So they
I don't
are
know,
तो वो लोग तो है
but
ही
like
ना.
very young.
They have all issues ना that they deal with, which apparently the
Yeah,
people before them never faced. But is
correct,
what they think.
correct. Yeah, yeah. This is like a whole topic on its own. We should like
Yeah,
have it in a
that's the
separate
victim. That's the victim
episode.
card that'll come up
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to sum it up, I think one of the best examples for this topic that we just spoke of, I saw a few days back, was they showed people a image of a serial killer and
Mhm.
a person from who's done good in society. Okay,
Right.
let's just face it that, because the people who did good in society, they weren't the ones who are easily recognizable. That's why I am not able to place them in exactly which field they came from, but they were ones who've done good in the creative arts, in science, or whatever fields that they are involved in.
Mm, mm,
So they were showing I think they showed a pic of a Sikh person, with a turban, and
mm.
Jeffrey Dahmer. If you don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, see, the image will pop up here right now. You can see.
Yeah.
Uh, and most of the women said they trusted Jeffrey Dahmer more because of the way the Sikh person looked with a turban and a beard. So they're like, nah,
Right.
because they don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is again.
Right.
Because the
Right.
young,
Obviously.
yeah, the Gen Z are idiots anyway. So not a judgment again, just messing around. I mean, just not messing around. But yeah, I mean, could be like not everyone researches serial killers. I get that, but and so what it was basically saying is, coming back on serious note, is like the way people, the first look is what matters.
Mm.
So this Sikh guy and Jeffrey Dahmer and people choosing Dahmer, Ted Bundy.
Right.
Ted Bundy, of course, most women would go for Ted Bundy. I mean, he was
Yeah,
a
for
charmer
sure.
even in his pics. He was a
Yeah.
real life charmer as well. Even in Spix, most people would go for Ted Bundy.
Correct.
So there was Ted Bundy and there's another guy, and then so three out of three. They showed one
Hmm.
more guy. I don't think it was Gacy, but it was some other guy. I don't remember. It was the Ramirez guy. I think this. I
Okay.
whatever. But I remember these two. So most of the women or even the men, they were asking people who would you trust more. And I'm not just saying the women; it's also the men that they were talking to. And all of them, 90% of them, the people who knew Dahmer and Bundy, of course, chose the other guy. But the people
Right.
who did not know either of them, they all went with Dahmer or Bundy. Both these images of Dahmer and Bundy would be here now
Hmm.
somewhere. So that's I think the perfect way to sum up that.
Yeah.
It's so, and I know they say the first impression is most important, but I think the first impression has to come once the person opens his mouth or
Hmm.
or makes whatever kind of interaction, not just the first appearance.
Yeah. Exactly. And what's the rush? Just have a
Yeah.
few minutes of
Yeah.
the conversation and then make a call.
I mean, people are, I mean, just going through reels any which way. 2 minute दे दो
Exactly.
सामने वाले को भी. Just let him
Yeah. Might as well.
present his case, and then you can see, if he's worth
Then
it
you
or
can
not.
judge.
Yeah, then you
Yeah.
can judge.
True.
Then you
Then you
can
can
judge.
judge the fuck out of him.
Then you can judge.
Then you can-
So
So yeah,
yeah,
man. But it's an interesting point. It's a good study that they did,
yeah,
and it actually shows like how people just judge based on appearance
yeah,
blindly without
blindly.
getting into it. Yeah.
So I think that's a wrap on this week's rant. Uh, we
Yeah.
This was our first of hopefully many, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.